I've been very fortunate. A show I was doing worked right up to the strike. Then I went to Albuquerque and built 7 homes for Sony,
Hmm.
the backlot for them. And that took me till October. Then we were off from October until this year. And then I got lucky and got Criminal Minds and then elected not to go back to it. And for season 18, I elected to go back to Loot for season 3. And after 3 weeks, they pulled the plug on Loot because Maya Rudolph plays Kamala Harris. So Saturday Night Live yanked her from us. So in an amazing turn of events, I got an interview 3 days later and ended up getting Palm Royale the
Hmm.
Friday after they laid us off on Loot.
Wow.
So
That's because you got the touch, man. That is just like, let me just explain, Eric. That's just the bill. That since I have only known you really a year, right? Every time he's like, he has that story every time, and that's like, that's the realities.
Got the
That's the
golden
reality
touch.
for, you know.
I'm pretty blessed that I've built really good relationships with producers and production designers over the years. And I can lean on those relationships.
Right. Right.
I'd worked for these producers and the coordinator that did this last season wasn't available. So I got the first interview and I hate to sound lofty, but if I can get an interview, I usually can get the job.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Right. And that comes from both experience and self-confidence.
like Lynette says, I like to make people laugh too. It's a lot easier to be in a situation where laughter's involved than crying. You know,
Yeah.
even a bad budget number, if you can make it feel lighter than it is,
Hmm.
it's going to be swallowed easier. I turned in a budget last Friday for $1.7 million. So we've been going back and forth today trying to figure out where to find about 150 grand in that 1.7. So, and I'm confident we'll find it.
Hmm.
So,
But
you know,
is this for a future thing you have to build or something that's already been built?
so this is for a mansion on Palm Royale. They want to build the rest of it. They had 2 rooms from it last season,
Hmm.
and they want to build a full 2-story continuous mansion set so they can do big wide sweeping shots. The showrunner, Abe, I don't know his last name, he was a Broadway dancer. So if you watch this show, you'll see everything is sort of a dance number.
Huh.
It flows. I mean, it's pretty beautiful. I'm not the demographic, but holy cow, it's a beautiful show.
That's great.
So
Yeah, the sets are amazing.
no, it's amazing. I
It's
mean,
pretty wow. It's pretty wowy over the top. Like
yeah, the
art
last
director.
episode of season 1 blew my mind.
Huh. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's a fun one to figure out how to whittle down, how to whittle.
Yeah, and I mean they got 11 Emmy nominations in the technical categories last season. So there's a high bar for all of us this season too.
And that's a New Mexico production?
No, I'm at Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm in Studio City. So
Gotcha.
yep. No, as soon as I finished that thing in New Mexico, I ran kicking and screaming. I'm not a desert dweller.
You
Yeah.
were there a while in Albuquerque. That was the Odenkirk thing. Is that what you
Yes.
said? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was for Vince Gilligan.
Mhm.
So it's Sony and Apple's next big thing. I mean, they gave Vince $200 million for 10 scripts.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and the nicest man you'll ever meet.
Mhm.
You would never know that this guy literally, is at that level of show
Right.
running.
Right.
I mean, just
Wow.
the kindest man you'll ever meet. He's one of those guys you'll kill yourself working for him
Yeah.
because he's so appreciative.
Right. Right.
No, he's pretty unflappable and he's got a photographic memory. I mean,
Huh.
if he wants something from season 1 of Breaking Bad to turn up in season 13 of Better Call Saul, you'd better find it because he's going to remember what it was.
Wow.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
That's
So,
pretty good.
yeah. But I mean, that sort of makes it easier too, because he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
It's a
And
lot easier to find something if you're told what item you're finding, as opposed to, I want something that's sort of red, blue, greenish, and it's got to be round, but square, and then kind of triangular. And without violating my NDA, this show is more like X-Files.
cool. Okay.
It's a monster. I
Yeah.
told the local coordinator, Stevie Brown, when I left, I said, Stevie, fasten your seatbelts, kid. It's gnarly. I mean, he only shoots 2 pages a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
An episode is 18 days.
Wow. Like a feature film.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That'll be
So,
fun. I can't wait.
yeah, no, it's,
That's amazing. That alone, what you just said, I'm like, what? That
Yeah.
isn't heard of in forever.
the 2 scripts they allowed me to read blew my mind.
Hmm.
So
Can you tell us what year it's gonna appear on television?
I bet it's probably another year and a half. So probably spring of 2026.
Mhm.
Wow.
Literally, they said they're going to do the first 10 episodes, and that takes a year to shoot.
Right,
And they're going to take 14 months off between episodes or
wow,
between seasons.
right,
So it was a 5-year plan when we built these houses. I mean, they're fully inspected. I mean, they're real live houses.
right.
I have your photo.
Yeah.
I mean, I should find it. It's amazing, Eric. It's literally, truly what Bill is saying. It is a cul-de-sac,
Mhm.
wasn't it? And
Yeah.
5 homes were built, and they
Yeah.
were
We took 38 acres and built a base camp, and then put in curb and gutter and asphalt and drainage, did hydrology, poured 7 slabs. I put thousands of feet of block wall up.
Hmm.
Tons of coyote fencing, all real roofs. I had 2 roofing contractors out there doing the houses to get them done in time. So
They're not just facades, they're the whole.
no, they're genuine, real live. You could come inside, do some interior work, and move people into them. You get a certificate of occupancy.
That's so cool.
So the city inspector was blown away. He goes, "I've never seen anything like this."
Huh,
And we built them all to California code, so they're twice what they do in New Mexico.
right, right.
As far as earthquake and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But
I don't know, Bill, your phone's gonna be ringing.
again, I'm lucky. My phone rings all the time. I'm so
No,
lucky.
I'm saying Albuquerque is gonna be calling you.
The Monday after I got this show, I got a call to do a show there. They were letting somebody go, and I turned it down, obviously, because this is a really good show that I've got now. So
Right, right. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, so how did this all begin for you? How did this wild ride that you've been on?
okay, now remember, it was the 80s. So
I remember.
it wasn't always G-rated in the 80s. But I was working as a plasterer on the outside, but I was going to a lake here in California, every other weekend. We'd go water skiing. And I met the guy that built the ET robot, basically.
Mhm.
And he invited me over to his house. He had a giant workshop. And apparently I asked all the right questions, because then one of the foremen on Spaceballs
Mhm.
called this gentleman, Bill Shepler, and said, "Hey, do you know anybody that's looking to get in?" And at that point, I transitioned from plastering to being a roofer, which, oh, but God, that sucks. And my phone rang one day, and when they told me I was going to make like $20 an hour, but be able to go to the doctor, I couldn't get off the roof fast enough.
Mhm.
And so I got my days on Spaceballs.
Oh my God.
How long ago it
You are a
was.
rock star to my boys. Oh my God.
Well, crazy stuff like back then. I mean, if you'll remember when, I can't remember the dog's name, John Candy's character opens the motorhome up and all the beer cans spill out.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Literally, the prop master brought us 100 cases of beer and said, "You guys need to drink these beers. Don't crush the cans. And I'll come get the empties in a month." And I thought, okay, wait a minute. I've got benefits. I can go to a doctor. I'm getting paid pretty good money, and they want me to drink beer every lunch. I've died and gone to heaven. I mean, serious.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was
a
what,
good story.
27 years old. It was like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it like it. So, yep.
Nice,
Wow.
Yeah.
very nice.
The rest is on IMDb.
Yeah, I've looked at that. That's a long list.
No, I've had a really nice career. I really have.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
And
met a lot of nice people. I've built a lot of cool things. I've run big work, small work, and now this little TV niche is just perfect.
so I get that you're now well known enough that you don't really need to get out there and network. But somebody younger coming in, they need to meet more people, right? They need to get out there, get their name heard, shake some hands.
Yes.
What advice would you give somebody that's a good carpenter on, in the outside world, but wants to be in the business?
So two-pronged on that. A good carpenter from the outside world that wants to do this, has to be ready to quit that probably good job in a moment's notice, like I did. And B, know that if they don't get their 30 days, they're not getting in, and they might have to struggle to get those days. Recently, a group of coordinators, we tried to get some days for this kid that was an Army Ranger, and it took us a year to get his 30 days. So the biggest leap is, am I willing to quit a good job? My chiropractor's son was a fine finish carpenter, and he wanted to get his son in. And I'm like, your son's already making over $100,000 a year. He's got benefits. I go, to leave that job with the uncertainty of the 30 days is foolish. So he did not. He stayed in that job, and he's happy over there. But so the 30 days is the biggest thing. And then I also have people that are in the business, other younger coordinators will call me. They're like, how do you keep getting show after show after show? And the key is kind of networking, sort of making sure that you do a good job for everybody you work for, even if you don't like them, making sure you keep the people you're working for comfortable, even if you don't like them, is important. I hate to say, but sometimes you have to put on a false face. The show I left to go back to Loot, I did not see eye to eye with the designer. Frankly, she was very insecure, and I'm not very insecure. And I didn't really want to go back to it. I prefer to work for people that I want to sit down and have lunch with. You know what I mean? If they're not, they don't have to be your friend like after work, but during the course of the day, you want friendship. We're not here to make friends, but we need to be friendly. So
yeah, but I think life's too short not to hang out with people you like.
Right. And to have an adversarial relationship during the workday, which is 10 or 12 hours long, is not healthy.
No.
If you're just wondering, is she going to come in here and scream about something again? When your day is like that, it's not worth it.
Right.
And there were times that she'd come in my office and just bark out something that Claire, my assistant, would look at me after she left and go, what just happened? So, so I made the choice and bailed from that show. So if you can't keep your life light, it's not worth doing it. So
do you ever feel pressure, or are you just insulated from it now?
Where I feel pressure is I'm like a black lab. I want to please everybody. And I'll get pulled in a couple different directions. Like when I worked with Lynette and Judy, I was already doing a show, but I was compelled to help them out too, because I'd committed to it before this other opportunity came along. And the other opportunity was also with a producer that's a good friend of mine and a designer that's a good friend of mine. So I didn't want to let anybody down. So instead you work, 16, 17, 18 hours a day, and you try to make everybody happy. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, because part of it, I feel, I'm sure you do, even when you have your years of experience, you're still only as good as your last job in a weird way. Even if you have been doing it a while, because you can say, don't you think that? I feel like sometimes people are, if they see your last work, if they don't know anything about you and they saw, Palm Royale, they'll be like, oh my God, it's amazing. And that's that's a new door opener.
And typically the phone call that's made by either producer or the designer, if they don't know me, is to the last job.
Right.
Because all the designers know each other. All the producers know each other. They all talk. They know if I'm making my deal. They know if I'm full of shit or not, because they can call the last guy.
Right.
And say, what were you paying him? So, anybody that thinks that every show is insulated from the previous ones is nuts.
No way.
We're so inbred.
Yeah, it's a very small world. And that's why for a young person, the point you brought up, that you have to know who you are walking in there too. Like you have to have, I'm all about core values. If you know what yours are, even if the person you're going to work for the next 6 months isn't not who you would ideally like to be with, if you feel good about what you're doing and your work, and you can feel comfortable with them, you have to put on that little happier face, because you've got to get through it. You've been hired, and that's why they hired you, to perform the job.
I tell the younger kids, I said, you can make about $70,000 a year in this business with no knowledge. You just have to be on time, and you have to get along with everybody in the building. And then they'll teach you. My foreman and stuff, they're not going to help the kid that's a jerk. They're going to help the one that shows up in earnest and wants to be there and wants to learn. So
yeah, that's a good point.
And being on time is huge in this, because this is a game of minutes. you know, my payroll, when my payroll's big, I could be spending, shoot, 150, $200 a minute. So you show up an hour late, you've cost me a lot of money.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's a good point.
timeliness is huge. A funny story, when I was interviewing, production assistants on a show called Swamp Flower, I interviewed two guys and a girl. And both guys, said, "Hey, what time do we start?" And almost the sentence was almost verbatim. They're like, "Oh, 8 a.m. That's really early. Can we start later?" And I'm like, "Why?" "Well, because I game." And I game. I
Yeah.
want to come to work at 10. Well, Claire, who's now been with me for 4.5 years, said, "I'll be here at 8."
Mhm.
So, I'm going to sound like an old man, but these kids these days don't have much work ethic, frankly.
It's
And
a
what do you
different-
think could
different
help
world.
them to know about work ethic? Because that's part of why we're even here.
Their parents ruined them. Flat out.
Hmm.
I ruined my kids. I was too nice to them, too soft. They're not, the 12-hour day is just alien to them. School's shorter now. Society as a whole has gotten so nice and comfy. So, again, I sound like an old man. I rode my bicycle with no tires on it uphill both ways in the snow.
Yeah.
But it's sad. I was, the 2 days that I was in transition, I worked as a carpenter on a show. And by 4 o'clock, this young kid I was working with, he said, "Are you going to just keep busting walls out?" I said, "Yeah, they're paying us to build walls. I'm going to keep building walls till it's time to go home." And about 4:30, he disappeared. And we went home at 5:45. I never saw him again that day. And then he didn't even turn up the next day.
Hmm.
So somehow this old man worked a 30-year-old kid into the ground in one day. They just, sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. The work ethic, and especially in our industry, in film industry, you have to put the hours in. Like it's not going on forever and ever. It has a finite time. You have the script, you've got to read it, you've got to do that budget. These things have to happen. And what we do as the environments that they're in, you can't be like, "Oh, I can't." I had a guy once I hired, and he said, his was similar, and his was, "Well, I can't start till after my yoga."
Oh.
I was like, "Well, then I don't think you're starting with us. Thanks, though." And that was that. I couldn't believe it. I was on the phone like, did he just say that to me? This is a job. You just
You
got
think that your ears are clogged.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. There is
Yeah.
that gumption of trying to get that you want to excite them, to realize that it's worth it. I feel like I have to do more cheerleading than I ever remember, and with people. I don't know if that's how I refer to it. It's like they want the job, they got the job, and then they're sort of taking it in like, wow, this is a big commitment.
Yeah.
And
And
then
cheerleading is a good word. That's a spot on word. Supervisors now they're half cheerleader, half ringleader.
yeah.
You're trying to wrangle the kittens and you're also trying to keep them all happy so they don't turn on each other.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel a lot of the time. A lot of time.
Yes.
Which is fine, but it's definitely like the old timer moment where I'm like, I don't remember this before. I don't remember anybody doing what we're doing now. But that's
So
hopefully
what kind of personality type succeeds then as a young kid coming in?
One that can control massive ADD the best. Because this sport is designed for people with ADD, ADHD.
Mhm.
12 balls in the air and juggle all 12 all the time. So that's a common thread that I've found in the most successful people in my part of the business, in the trades. All the bosses are totally ADD. So
Right?
yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
yeah.
I
No,
totally
completely.
agree. I am. So I don't even know what to do when there's not 6 things. So
Exactly. And that's when I dropped the ball the most. And I was having this discussion actually with Mark director. And she said the same thing. She's like, "Yeah, if I don't have 25 or 30 things to do, I forget to do them."
right.
Because
You
you
don't even
become
know that you
complacent.
had them.
Right. No, I need the odds to be stacked against me all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So just eat the elephant one bite at a time.
So the pressure, so you have to be able to handle pressure too,
Yes.
on top of it. Like
Yep.
you have to be able to multitask and take notes and really listen to your supervisor, but you also have to know that take a breath, keep moving forward, onward. That's what I'm always saying. Just onward, breathe onward. Because,
Yep.
you know,
And even the rank and file, I mean, they're assigned tasks one or maybe two at a time. They just need to know that let's just complete this assigned task. Then we'll go on to the next one. Don't muddle the two and think you're going to be more efficient by muddling them, because you probably won't be.
right.
So,
What about, have you in your time, in your career, I haven't asked you this. Did you have to pivot from being a carpenter to then going to becoming the construction coordinator that I know you as? Like, is that a thing, or was it just a natural evolution, or?
I never wanted to be a construction coordinator,
Oh,
ever.
Keep
I
it
was
on the
Chris
down
Snyder's
low.
general foreman, and that was all fine and dandy and happy. And the union made me get my coordinator's card because in the 90s, we were wrapping and starting shows overlapping. So they wanted to have a coordinator on each one. So I would stay behind and finish the shows. And everything was going along fine until I got talked into coordinating a pilot. And I didn't want to do it. I hate doing time cards. I hate doing paperwork. I hate math. I hate all of it. Well, the producer after the pilot said, I love you. You're never leaving me. And 6 years later, I was still working for her.
Wow.
And it's just kind of blown up since then. So
At
Wow.
what point in the process of your job are you ever able to sit back and say, feel a sense of satisfaction? Or are you just always moving on?
no, I actually, again, I'm lucky because I work with people I like so much. So I get a huge amount of joy after seeing those people happy. So I see them happy, and then I'm overjoyed by it. You know, I
Cool.
get texts from people I work for. They're like, Gideon, what would I do without you in my life? Stuff like that. So it's very appreciated and I enjoy it.
Awesome.
It's the black lab again, scratch behind my ears.
Yeah.
I'll sit here all day. So
Well,
I love that you have the dog analogy, because I've said that about myself and many, many fellow art department people that were really like big puppies. And
right.
when you give me the biscuit and I know where I get to run to chase the ball, I will bring it right back. I am there. I will do it.
Yep.
And so I had never heard anybody else say it.
I said it once in an interview to a designer. I said, I'm like a black lab. Just throw the ball. I'll keep bringing it back. Just throw the ball. And he looked at me like, and I got the job, but he looked at me like, holy crap, I don't know about this.
Well, that's how I felt working with you on Poker Face. Like that was a completely, crazy kind of beginning, middle, and situation where we all just like arrived in one location, never having physically been together for months talking about it.
Yep.
And then boom, it was like totally, it was insane. Everything it was one of the best experiences actually I've had in years and years. Like the whole crew, all your team, it was all wonderful, like super positive for me, because everyone communicated. It, even if they were faking it till they made it, it felt real. Like we were so happy that we we're able to pull these things off in a short amount of time.
Everything about it screamed failure. The fact that we didn't implode and all attack each other because it was like 185 degrees every day, and they dumped that extra set on us, and everything they promised we weren't doing, we had to do.
Yeah.
Stuff from New York didn't fit.
Right.
So all of us had the right to completely crumble, and none of us did. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and I attest a lot of that. I mean, I'm like totally patting both of us, all of us. We all done it a long time.
Yeah.
So nothing, all the keys were all people who had been doing it for 25 plus. So we all knew, so nothing was, completely like, it was complete, but we were like, yep, this is going to be that one.
Right on. Well, cool. It's nice meeting you, and it's nice seeing you. And
yeah, great to see you.
Good luck, but holler if you need something, holler. I'm
okay. All right. Thanks again.
Thanks so
cool.
much.
Bye.
Right, you guys.
Bye.